Good morning and welcome back again to Concerned Citizens Media. Here are the news for today. Updates on the crisis in Walaita Sodo Zone. The chaos caused by Abiy Ahmed military and security forces led to the deaths of more than 8 innocent citizens and unknown numbers of injuries in Walaita Zone. It was unnecessary and illegal interference made by Abiy Ahmed's order on peaceful local gathering to discuss the future of Walaita regional ambition. Abiy Ahmed's intimidation and using forces to silence public, legitimate and peaceful demands is creating chaos and public anger in many parts of Ethiopia. Walaita is the current victim of such policy. The public has a right for public gathering and to support or join any political party they wish under the current Ethiopian constitution. The military should be reserved to defend the country from foreign enemies, but must not be used to terrorize and kill its own peaceful citizens who are asking to govern themselves. Abiy Ahmed's dependence on the military and the security forces to silence citizens must be challenged by all Ethiopians that are wishing to build stable and peaceful Ethiopia for all its citizens. If we turn our blind eye to it, Ethiopia will be heading to the worst dictatorship in Africa. Abiy Ahmed is watching how Isaias Afwerki of Eritrea has completely silenced all legitimate political oppositions and dissidents in Eritrea and made it a one-person show in that country. The Ethiopian government is galvanizing public opinions and using government media to spread divisive and hateful propaganda against legitimate political organizations and its leaders. These government propagandas are intended to criminalize and blame Oromo Liberation Front, Oromo Federalist Congress, and their members who are mostly under the authority of Ethiopian prison system. The government is using the media propaganda to establish or frame guilty for these political leaders such as Johar Mohammed, Beqqala Garba, Hamza Borana, Abdi Raggasa, Mikhail Borana, and others before their cases are proven through credible evidence in the judicial system. These government's illegal attempts are seriously damaging the basic rights of these individuals, hopeful, free and fair trials under the rules of law in Ethiopia. Their lawyers must demand that the Ethiopian government stop this anti-legal system propagandas on the government media and the public indoctrination in its public gathering platforms. Ethiopians back home and in the global communities, plus the international society, must strongly condemn this Ethiopian government effort to ruin citizens' protection under the rules of law, innocent until proven guilty. Huge gas explosion rocked the residential areas in Baltimore, Maryland today. This explosion caused the death of one woman and injuries to 7 persons. 3 homes collapsed, and the forces of the explosion and the debris blew out windows and doors in nearby homes. The causes of the explosion is still under investigation. Credit for this news is CNN and CBS. China put sanctions on US lawmakers, NGO chiefs in tit-for-tat retaliation. Beijing added to its counter-attack against its critics by announcing sanctions against 11 United States lawmakers and non-governmental organization leaders who have assailed China's tightening grip on Hong Kong. These moves represented retaliation for the United States Treasury Department sanction on Friday against Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam and 10 other officials for repressing political leaders in the city. Concerned Citizens Media reported on its previous news bulletin about consulate closure in both China and in the United States, Houston, Texas. The US also ordered the closure of the technology or mobile video company TikTok in the United States within 2 weeks. The war is intensifying between these two powerful veto power countries. There is no ending sight, and what is coming next is also unclear for now. So these are the news from Concerned Citizens for tonight, and I have an update on what's going on in Beirut, Lebanon. The Concerned Citizens Media reported last time about the explosion and the injuries and the damage caused by that huge explosion. It was devastating for that country. It's already in challenging situation. Now, the update is the Prime Minister resigned because of the explosion effect and all the related issues with that. And listen, I'm going to close with this Al Jazeera video about the resignation of the Prime Minister and all the protests. The people, they are very angry. And let's listen what the...
We are live now to Lebanon's Prime Minister Hassan Diab, who is making an announcement. Let's listen in.
To all Lebanese, we're still living around the catastrophe that hit Lebanon, a catastrophe that hit all of us in the heart due to the corruption in politics and administration and the whole state. I have said before that the corruption system is deep there all over the place, and I discovered that the corruption system is bigger than the state, and the state is suffering from that sort of corruption. The state and the country cannot face that corruption. One of the types of this corruption has exploded in the Beirut port. The catastrophe hit all of us. We have so many other models in every place. The threat is big. I am afraid of so many other types of corruption that might hit Lebanon within the protection of the elite who controls the fate and future of the country. Those elites who live on the rift and trade with the ambitions and hopes of people according to the calculations and according to the different agenda. Today, we are facing a massive catastrophe, and all the powers that are keen to the future and the welfare of the country should work together, should cooperate together, should keep silent, should be mourning the lives of the martyrs, should be mourning in respect of those mothers who lost their husbands and those wives who lost their husbands and those mothers who lost their sons. They should work to find a place for the displaced people. They must have done that. The catastrophe is massive, is beyond description, but some of us live in different era and different atmosphere. They only care about scoring points and about talking to the people in a sort of enthusiasm in order to hit the remaining of the country. Shame on them. They should feel the shame because their corruption has shown us this catastrophe, and God only knows what are the other catastrophes that are hidden within their corruption and under their corruption. They are used to change the words, to change the facts, but what we need now is to change them because they are the real trouble. They are the real catastrophe, the real crisis in Lebanon. They have changed so many times in the past. Every time people are about to get rid of their corruption, they change their skin. They haven't read the revolution of the Lebanese in 2019. This revolution was against them. They haven't understood properly this revolution. They continue their practices. They continue their calculations. They thought that they can overcome the changes and the hopes and the aspirations of the Lebanese people in a strong country, in a fair judiciary, in fighting corruption, in putting an end to financial policies that have taken the country to the edge of being broken. The policies have put the country under massive debt. That's why economic and social collapse is there. And at the same time, those people, weeks after forming this government, have tried to throw the sins on the government and blame the government for all the corruption, for all the mistakes. This is true. Shame on them. Shame on them. This government has exerted a lot of efforts to put a roadmap to rescue this country. Every minister in this cabinet, in this government, has played his maximum, has exerted the maximum effort because we are all keen on our people and the future of our people. We don't have any personal interest. What we are keen on is to rescue our country. We have been under campaigns of accusations, but we refused to be dragged into nonsense because we need to work and we need to work hard. Those people haven't stopped attacking us, changing the facts, to protect themselves and to cover their mistakes. We have carried out the change in Lebanon according to the wishes of the Lebanese people, but a lot of problems are all over the place because these matters are being protected and supported in a dirty manner by this elite because they have the ability to do so. We fiercely fight, we honorably fight, but this fight is not equal. We are alone and they are all together. They have used all the weapons against us. They have changed the realities. They have changed the facts. They have spread the rumors. They tell the people lies. They have committed every sin because they know that we are a threat to them. They know that our success means the real change in this elite. Those people have been there for decades, and the bad smell is all over the place. Today, we are here in this particular point, in this earthquake that hit Lebanon with all the social, human, and economic and national consequences. Our main goal, our main aim is to deal with these consequences together with a quick investigation that will hold everyone responsible if committed mistakes. We are now talking to the people. We are now depending on the people's hopes to take these people to the court. We need to change. We are with the ambitions of the Lebanese people to bring the change. We need to move forward to the transparency, to a country that respects its people, to a country that lives within transparency, to a country that lives within equal policies. But now we are not. We are not. And at this particular moment, we have to go back to the people to fight with them against corruption. We need to open the door for national salvage, national rescue. We need to be part of the people. That's why I declare today the resignation of this government. God bless Lebanon. God bless Lebanon.
That was Lebanon's Prime Minister, or former Prime Minister Hassan Diab there. He had been in the role since January 2020. Just to recap what we heard from him, he said the state cannot deal with this level of corruption. He said that corruption was what was to blame for the port explosion. He said he's afraid for other types of corruption. He talked about some people in the face of this tragedy, talking about the port explosion, only care about political point scoring. Interestingly, he talks about the political elite saying they haven't or had not read the revolution of October 2019, that some people have tried to blame the government for all of the mistakes that have happened. He reiterated that his government has tried. He talked about the political elite stopping change, blocking change from happening. He said they used all of their weapons against us. Let's go live now. I believe we can bring in Bernard Smith, who is on the streets of Beirut. Bernard, so Hassan Diab there has officially resigned. What happens now?
Well, he's resigned to the president, and now we have to see if a new cabinet and a new prime minister can be appointed, and those negotiations are going on at the moment. We understand there are two names in the frame. Saad Hariri, that's something of out with the new and in with the old. He was the former prime minister who resigned only back in January and resigned under enormous international pressure as the country economy collapsed because the banking system collapsed and the currency now lost 80% of its value. He would not be a popular choice, it would seem. Another name in the frame is Nawaf Salam. He's a former diplomat, currently a judge at the International Court of Justice. He is more acceptable, we could say, to those who are calling for change in Lebanon, but when previous occasions when his name has been mooted, Hezbollah and its allied parties have rejected him. So there's a lot of horse trading likely to be going on. What we know, though, what we do know is that the opposition in the past have refused to work with this now caretaker cabinet, Hezbollah-dominated and its allied parties-dominated cabinet. The opposition wouldn't work with them. So unless there's some way forward that can be some sort of agreement that can be reached between these parties, that is the only way you might get what the international community wants, which is some sort of government of national unity to try and begin to pull Lebanon out of this crisis. Macron has suggested something like that. He wants all Lebanese political parties to work together, and if he's satisfied that they've shown they can do that, only then would the billions of dollars in aid that this country needs, then that might begin to be unlocked.
Bernard, what we're seeing next to you is live images from Beirut, lines of riot police walking down the street. Doesn't look like there's a lot of protesters, at least not in the frame that we can see. It looks like they're slightly further away, a bit of tear gas being thrown around. What's the situation on the ground in terms of protests there compared to previous nights?
Well, as the Prime Minister was speaking, there was a confrontation near Parliament, and riot police used a lot of tear gas to force them back, and that makes me jump. Sorry about that. That's some more tear gas, and that is what had been happening when they've tried to get close to Parliament. They have been fairly ruthlessly pushed back. It's a scene we've seen repeated over the last couple of nights. They are, it has to be said, on a fairly small scale in comparison with protests past, and what happens is the police, as I say, use these large quantities of tear gas to push protesters back. But most of the people in Beirut, most of the people that in Lebanon have been so exhausted by what happened on Tuesday and what was happening in the country before that, that they're concentrating, certainly in these last few days, on trying to live. 250 to 300,000 people are homeless, and if you're not homeless, you're probably living in an apartment with shattered windows, and you're trying to find work, you're trying to find food, you're trying to fix up your home. So most people have other priorities at the moment, but there's no disguising the anger, frustration, and despondency that people speak, that we've been speaking to over the last few days, as we see them trying to pick up their lives after Tuesday's catastrophe.
Bernard, we want you to stay safe, so move about if you need to. The pictures that we're looking at from around the city, they do give the sense that something significant is happening in Lebanon. Now we have Hassan Diab announcing his resignation. As you say, we're waiting to hear the details of a possible caretaker government and the people who may replace him. Just remind us of how we got to this point. I mean, obviously, we have this massive explosion. People are saying this is the fault of the political elite. This is the result of negligence. This is the result of corruption. In fact, that's what Hassan Diab himself said in his address. But the country has been in turmoil for some time.
It has, because culminating in Tuesday's explosion of that ammonium nitrate, a consequence of the political rot and the corruption this country has suffered in the last 30 to 40, 50 years because of the political elites that have divvied up the main sources of income here, the electricity company, the water company, the telecoms company. The port was a major cash cow for one particular group of peoples because of the customs duties that they were able to skim off on goods coming into the port. And the problem is that the people protesting tonight, and those others who aren't protesting, but many people in Beirut who want to see their government change or want to see political change here, it's extremely difficult with the current system to affect it, because Lebanon's electoral system is set up, is geared to protect the political elites that run the country. If you want to run parliament, you have to be appointed or overseen by one of the political elite groups. And to change that system, those political elites to change that system, those political elites have to agree to it. And analysts I've spoken to today and people who are involved in Lebanese politics say even an explosion as catastrophic as the one that was on Tuesday might not be enough, probably wouldn't be enough to get those elites to easily give up their grip on power. And that is why it's international pressure people believe is necessary to force those people who control Lebanon to give up power and to change the way this country is governed.
We're going to talk a little bit later. We've got some analysts standing by about...
Okay, that is Al Jazeera reporting on Beirut, Lebanon explosion and its consequences. One of the consequences is the damage it caused to the Lebanese citizens. It says it's more than 300,000 people became homeless, and more than 200 people dead, and more than 7,000 people injured. It's a huge devastating effect on Lebanese, which is already under stress. And the other consequence is the resignation of the prime minister. So he's opening the door for the new cabinet. I hope they will be successful and Lebanon will be stable. That's the wish from concerned citizens for them. So that's my closing. And if you want to know more about Lebanese, you can get the update from Al Jazeera news agency or other news agencies. That's all I have for today from Concerned Citizens Media. Until next time, so long and be safe, everyone.